The CEO's voice trembled, not with anger, but with disbelief. The entire conference room, filled with engineers, executives, and investors, went silent. The little girl, standing nervously beside the whiteboard, clutched her small notebook tighter and whispered, "My dad." A hush swept across the crowd. Her father, the janitor, stood frozen near the corner of the room, still holding his mop. It all began 2 weeks earlier in the grand halls of Brightcore Innovations, a tech company known for its cutting-edge engineering and ruthless corporate culture. Employees came and went like passing shadows, but one man remained unnoticed: David Miller, the janitor who worked night shifts cleaning the very rooms where brilliant minds designed the future. David was a quiet man, widowed, and raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. Every morning before school, Lily would sit in the corner of the break room with her books while her father finished mopping the floor. She was curious, too curious sometimes, and while waiting, she'd scribble equations from the whiteboards that the engineers left behind. One night, as David polished the glass doors, he found a half-erased equation on the board in one of the labs. It looked incomplete, but something about it seemed familiar. He had once been an engineering student himself before tragedy and bills forced him to drop out. That night, as Lily waited, he explained the formula, what it meant, and what it could become if solved correctly. Lily listened carefully, her small fingers tracing each number, each symbol. "So, if I move this here," she said, "it could work better, right?" David smiled, surprised by her sharp intuition. "Yes, that's right. You've just made it simpler." He didn't know that in her notebook, Lily began writing and reworking that formula every night after school. A week later, Brightcore announced a company-wide innovation challenge. Whoever could improve the company's failed energy conversion model would receive a scholarship and mentorship with the CEO herself, Evelyn Rhodes, a woman known for her brilliance and pride. David thought nothing of it. But Lily saw the poster while waiting for him in the cafeteria and secretly submitted her version of the formula under a pseudonym, LM. When Evelyn reviewed the submissions, one formula stood out. It wasn't just an improvement, it was a breakthrough. This could save us millions," she whispered, eyes wide. She immediately arranged a presentation to meet this LM in person. When the day came, Lily showed up nervously with her little backpack. Evelyn and her team stared, confused. "Sweetheart," Evelyn said kindly but skeptically, "are you here with someone?" "Yes," Lily smiled. "My dad's here. He works here too." The team exchanged glances, assuming her father was an engineer. No one expected the man who stepped in next, wearing a janitor's uniform, mop still in hand. Chapter 2, The Truth That Changed Everything. Evelyn frowned slightly, not out of cruelty but disbelief. "You're her father?" David nodded slowly, unsure what to say. "Yes, ma'am." "And you taught her this formula?" He hesitated. "Well, we worked through it together. She's the one who saw what I didn't." Lily stood by his side, holding her notebook. "My dad said formulas are like puzzles," she said proudly. "You just have to look at them with love." A quiet laughter rippled through the room, but Evelyn didn't laugh. She looked at the whiteboard, at the child's handwriting, and then at the man who'd been cleaning her floors for years. She remembered how many times she'd walked past him without noticing, how often she'd dismissed people who didn't wear suits or badges. "Would you show us how you did it?" Evelyn asked. Lily climbed onto a chair, marker in hand. Her voice was small, but steady. "Dad said this part was wasting energy, so I used a mirror sequence. It reflects back what's lost." David watched in awe. She was explaining his theory, but in her own words, simpler and more powerful. She was doing what he never got the chance to do. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Evelyn stood speechless, tears glimmering in her eyes. "This formula, it's revolutionary," she whispered. Then, turning to David, she said, "How long have you been working here?" 7 years, he replied quietly. "And no one knew you could do this?" He smiled humbly. "No one ever asked." That evening, Evelyn called a press conference. Standing beside David and Lily, she addressed the reporters. "Today, we learned that brilliance doesn't always come from corner offices or fancy degrees. Sometimes, it comes from a janitor who refused to stop dreaming and from a daughter who believed in him." David was offered a full scholarship to finish his engineering degree. Lily received a mentorship and educational grant in her name. The company renamed the innovation program the Miller Initiative, dedicated to discovering hidden talent among overlooked workers. Months later, David stood once again in the same hallway, but this time, not with a mop. He was wearing a lab coat. Lily ran up to him, waving a piece of paper. "Dad, they published our formula." He laughed, tears welling in his eyes. "You see, sweetheart? Sometimes the world just needs to see you for who you really are." Evelyn approached them, smiling warmly. "You didn't just fix an equation," she said. "You fixed something far more important. You reminded us of humanity."